Hey, everybody. Welcome to the SCB Steelers Inside Blitz for April 8th, 2025. This, first and foremost, will be an Aaron Rodgers free episode of our short form podcast because, quite frankly, there's not much to update, and I'm really tired of talking about the guy. We'll talk a little Kelvin Anderson signed a 2-year deal this week. Also, a couple of interesting visits that the Steelers have, as well as just a couple other quick thoughts on the draft as it approaches here, about 2 weeks out. And first thing I want to do, however, is send our very best wishes and congratulations to Ryan Scarpino, one of my podcast co hosts here every Thursday night at 10 p.m. He and his wife welcomed a new baby daughter this week, and everybody is doing well. And very, very happy for him. He now has one of each. And I fully expect to hear an announcement saying that he's done over and that's it. But you never know. He might want to go for the Ian record of 7. And I I get the chills just thinking about that. Ian is a hero of mine. I don't know how he couldn't be. The patience of Job, I guess they say. Anyway, couple of different things, and again, best wishes to Ryan and his family. Couple of interesting things here this week. Kelvin Anderson signed a 2-year deal, and I want to credit Nick Fairbaugh, Penn Live, for kind of putting this in my head because at first I didn't really think much of it. Um, but the fact that it's a 2-year deal, I can't help but wonder if maybe he's not the swing tackle for 2025. And most of you know what that means. Swing tackle is a guy that's going to be able to play either left or right, and would be that third tackle. If somebody goes down on the left, he goes in. Somebody goes down on the right, he goes in. Or you play him at one spot and have the remaining starter shift over, because as you all know, this is a year when Broderick Jones, it seems like, is finally going to get his opportunity at left tackle, and then Troy Fatanu, who missed his entire rookie season with an injury, will likely get the start at right tackle, and so that brings in Anderson to that, and he's got plenty of experience. He's a guy that's been around. He knows the ropes and everything, and that seems to be what the Steelers really like in these particular cases with their swing tackle guys. You want some experience, not necessarily old age or anything like that, but you definitely want some experience there. And I think I would agree with Nick that seems to be what's happening. And I also would suggest that probably takes drafting a tackle off the board. And only because of the fact I would say that, not just because of the signing, but also because this is not a real good draft for offensive linemen in general, especially tackles. So I think that takes it off the board. Never say never, but I would have to think that. A couple of visits coming in. One is Shamar Stewart, an edge rusher from Texas A&M. Very much on people's radar as a first round guy, maybe second round guy. Hard to say. Depends who you talk to, who you listen to. The Steelers don't really need an edge rusher right now with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig. But that doesn't mean you don't look. And when you have 30 visits, you want to use them all up. And let's not forget something that the Steelers have always done, especially under Mike Tomlin. What they like to do is bring in guys who they probably know they're not going to draft. Okay. Whether it's because they won't be able to get that player or because they just aren't ready for that player at the time, but they like to get to know guys. And then they like to get to know guys to know other guys too. There's also that. It's one of the things that we get lost in when we hear the Steelers have had dinner with, Jalen Milroe, or they had dinner with Will Howard, at Ohio State. Yeah, it's about those guys, but it's also about their teammates too. It's about guys currently coming out in the draft. It's about guys coming up. They want to know as much as possible. That's their job, is to learn that stuff. And I guess my thinking with Stewart is it probably falls under the category of maybe this is a guy. What if he falls to us? What if he's sitting there at 21? Do we take the best player available? But even more than that, it's probably along the lines of maybe this guy's available in a few years and we might need depth on at the edge rusher, something like that. So it's due diligence. I'm not going to get overly, one way or another about it, but I think that's probably what's happening. Now, the other guy that is obviously drawing a lot of attention this week is that Colorado quarterback Shadeur Sanders is scheduled to come in and visit. To this point, the Steelers met with him at the Shrine Bowl, I believe, and that was it. Nothing really at the combine. They didn't attend his pro day. The only Steelers person that was at the Colorado pro day was wide receiver coach Zach Azzani. That was it. And according to people I talked to, he spent most of his time watching the young man that's expected to go a little bit late, Horn, and that was about it. And so the fact that they're bringing Shadeur Sanders in is a little surprising. That said, again, due diligence. And from a fan perspective, it bugs me for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want the sideshow. Okay. I think what Dion has done at at the college level is pretty incredible. Um, he holds a lot of these young men very accountable. It's great to see. I appreciate a lot of things he's done, but at the same time, I don't want a LeVar Ball type situation. I would hate to see that in Pittsburgh. And I'm not saying it would happen. I just don't want to see it happen, if that makes sense. As a player, I like the kid's toughness. I think Shadeur is a very tough kid. I think he plays hard. He hangs in the pocket as well as anybody, probably too long at times. Arm strength is okay. It's not, to me, it's not NFL level arm strength. And he also has a very clear pat of the ball right before he delivers it. Now, that's not a deal breaker. Okay. Dan Marino patted the ball. Other great quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers pats the ball. All right. But most of the top guys that do that usually have big arms and quick releases. And Shadeur really doesn't have either of those. It's something I'm a little surprised wasn't coached out of him sooner, because it's not a random thing. It's basically he gets in the position, he pats it, he throws, and it's just, I don't know. As somebody who's paid attention to this game for a long time, I'm really surprised it has not been coached out of him, or at least maybe they tried. I don't know. So, do I think the Steelers would take him at 21 if he fell there? Nothing surprises me, but no, I don't. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback in the first round. If they take one at all, it's going to be in the 5th or 6th round, somewhere in that neck of the woods. It would be great. I'm going to violate what I said at the very opening, but it would be great if Mr. Rogers would actually let us know what he's doing before the draft. So maybe we could, focus on some other things, but apparently he's too busy for that. And, so we'll see. But no, I don't think they'll take Sanders at 21. In fact, I think the better or more likely scenario is you might see a team trade up a little bit to try and take him. A QB needy team, maybe from early in the first round, trades up from late second round into the 21st position to try to get him. And I am always for trading down. Collecting more picks. Fantastic. Omar Khan said it last week. He would love to get that second round pick that we used to get DK Metcalf. He would love to get that back. And I'm right with him. I would too. I would love to see that opportunity present itself. As far as just the way things are shaping up, the Steelers are obviously spending a lot of time on defensive linemen. They've looked at 4 different receivers now, have been in for visits. They've looked at some cornerbacks as well. And, I think, and as we've talked about on the Thursday night podcast, the double dipping at defensive line just continues to be something that I continue to, I don't know if I'd lay money on it, but I'm getting really close to that. And I'm really curious to see the type of defensive lineman that they do draft, because I can see them drafting a guy that is more of a 2-gapping, nose tackle type player, but then also adding somebody on the edges, a more traditional Cam Hayward, Aaron Smith type of guy, out for the edge. But as Mike Tomlin has talked about numerous times, because the fact the Steelers are in specialty packages and out of that 3-4 base 80% of the time, some of those demands aren't quite as what they used to be. So I'll continue to watch it. The guys are doing a great job. Both Cliff and Dom are doing a super job on our draft prep stuff. Check it out. They've got stuff on Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, a lot of individual player stuff. Guys from Penn State, guys from really all over the country. So check that stuff out as well. And agree, disagree, it doesn't matter. Hopefully you enjoy reading it, get some insight in it. But hopefully you will join us this Thursday night. We will kind of flip to the other side of the ball. Last week we looked at a lot of the top defensive prospects. This week it's going to be offensive. And as you can imagine, it'll end up being offensive, if you know what I mean, because we'll probably get pretty passionate about some of these things regarding to things like running back, quarterback, wide receiver. And it will be a great show. I have no doubt. Join us 10 o'clock. The SCB Steelers podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated. Join us in the chat. It's fantastic. And again, congratulations to Ryan and his wife on the birth of their daughter. And I doubt we'll see Ryan, but I'm hopeful maybe he makes a bit of a quick appearance, drops by and says hello. But in any case, thanks so much for giving me your 10 or as it is 11 minutes of your time tonight. Have a great week. And hey, go Steelers.